Father, please bless all of us on this earth, and we pray for peace, and we pray especially for our troops that are fighting for our freedom, and guide this board to make wise decisions. As we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Please face the flag, render the proper salute, and say along with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. If there are any persons in the audience that would like to address the commission on any item that is not on the agenda, please fill out a card that's located in the foyer and pass it to the clerk, and you will be recognized at that particular time, and you will be allowed 3 minutes on whatever the nature of your subject is. Okay, at this time we will look for agenda additions. Are there any agenda additions?
You have a card.
Oh, okay. Well, the agenda additions and then say citizen comment. Okay, I have 2 agenda additions, if I might. I'd like permission to expand the agenda. If I may get a vote in a second, a unanimous decision. Motion by the chair. Seconded by Commissioner Thibodeau to expand the agenda. Okay, that's unanimous. What I would like to do is ask for the appointment of Mr. Andre Wesley, who is our Assistant Parks and Recreation Director to Shreveport's Regional Sports Authority, and that this item be placed on the agenda in advance to Thursday's meeting. If I might get a second.
Second. On the board.
On the board, Shreveport's Regional.
This the new one or the old one?
No, it's the only vacancy.
Okay.
Mr. Pierce.
Originally, when we made our obligation to the Shreveport Regional Sports Authority, we said with the addition of 2 board members. I think Commissioner Thibodeau brought that up last time. And so when I talked to our attorney about it, Ms. Frazier, she said that it was written so that you had to put two members on there, when we were in error by just doing one. So this is just an effort to complete the process so we can begin the funding mechanism.
Okay. Any other comments? Now we'll vote to advance this item to Thursday's agenda. Okay, that's advanced to Thursday's agenda. I also have one more item. I'd like to expand the agenda. I move, if I might get a second.
Point of information, I believe it's appropriate and called for that you identify the item before we expand the agenda.
Well, the item that I would like to place on the agenda for Thursday would be a resolution of appreciation for Mr. Charles Harrison, who's a Shreveport native. He was the first African American that was hired by Sears Roebuck's company in 1931. His effects is in our households with a number of household products that we use every day. He will be speaking at the Greenwood Acres Missionary Baptist Church Sunday evening at 6 o'clock, and I would like to present a resolution of appreciation for his efforts.
Second, Ken.
Okay. All right. It's been moved and seconded that we expand the agenda to allow for a resolution of appreciation to Mr. Charles Harrison to be advanced for Thursday's official meeting.
Not nitpicking. Actually, what we're voting on is to expand the agenda, and then we're going to vote on it.
Well, we got it all in one. Now we'll vote on the resolution.
All right, there we go.
All right. Resolution to, motion to advance a resolution in reference to Mr. Charles Harrison on Thursday. Moved by the chair, seconded by Mrs. Bowden. Okay, let's move forward. Any other agenda additions? Okay, hearing none. At this time, we have one card. James Robinson, would you please come forward? State your name for the record, and you may proceed. And your address, please.
James Robinson, 10398 Lakes Lane, Shreveport, 71129. I just want to make a couple comments or concerns that I've got with animal control. I had an issue for about a year and a half with a dog that's runs loose from time to time, and it's been over a year and a half since we've tried to get a resolution to the problem with the dog, and I still don't know what we've done, or if they've done anything, or what the outcome is on that. The second issue I've got is there was a loose skunk at my dad's house about 2 months ago that I called animal control to try to see what we need to do, and they said we need to trap it. So I asked for a trap, and they said, well, the trap is anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks before you could get a trap out to your house. And so I used the trap that I had. After we caught the skunk and I called animal control to come pick it up, they informed me they don't no longer pick up skunks in other people's cages. It has to be in their own cage. Now, several years ago, I had the same issue with skunks in the house that I lived in on Carpet Road, that we probably caught 8 or 10 skunks in 6 or 8 months in my own trap, and every time that we called, the animal control came out and either gave them a shot, covered them up, took them off, and then we retrieved the cage back at a later time, or else they brought it out back to the house after they had disposed of the skunk. So that's 2 issues that I've got a concern about, and I'd like to get some help. I've tried getting some help with my commissioner, Jim Smith, on the dog issue, and I guess that's still ongoing. And that's all I got to say.
That's it.
That's it.
Mr. Harris, would you like to address this? Are you aware of this?
No, sir, I'm not.
Excuse me.
Thank you.
I'd like to ask a question.
Mr. Harris, Jim.
Mr. Harris.
Come forward, Mr. Harris.
Yes, sir.
I'm familiar and have had some issues in the past with regards to people having their own traps to trap animals. And it seems to me, before you became director, obviously under Mr. Pepper, that there was some sort of administrative internal decision made not to do that. Is that how the change came about?
Yes, sir. In 2008.
Do you remember why that change came about?
So we did not have the manpower at the time to be able to accommodate all the requests coming in to pick up animals in traps. We get a lot of calls dealing with that, based on the number of calls that we get dealing with animals running at large to pick up animals in traps, i.e. skunks, raccoons, nutria, squirrels, possums. It's just too many that we can, it takes up too much manpower to go out to each location and pick those up. So we came up with a policy, Mr. Pepper and I did, to look at that, and we came and briefed that.
Well, it seems to me that you don't have enough traps now, and manpower. If you're having to wait 6 weeks for you to bring a trap
That's not true, sir. That's not an accurate statement about the 6 to 8 weeks. I don't know where that came from. But if he called to our office and talked to any one of our staff, we would have definitely assured him that if he had a problem, we would definitely have gotten a trap out to that location. Whenever it comes to public safety, that is our paramount decision-making. We will get out there quickly and take care of that.
Okay. You have more manpower than you did in 2008?
I would say that the situation is
Trick
about the
question. I mean,
same.
it's budget every year. We've added staff since 2008. Would you admit? Yes? People on the streets. Have we not?
Yes, sir, 1 person.
Okay. Were you aware of the policy change?
Yes, sir, we was briefed in here.
We were briefed in here. I don't know how we let that one get under the radar. Lots of people out there own traps, and they trap animals. It could be rabbit or something. It's time to reassess this. Because I've gotten some calls from people in my own neighborhood that said, I've used to trap them and they don't get them and all. We've got to figure out a way to do better. I know we have budget constraints and all, but we've got to do better. And it seems to me if the citizens are willing to do the work, which is trap the animal, that's one less trip we're making than bringing the trap and then retrieving the trap and all. And if it's not a trap issue, then it's obviously a manpower issue. So do you have a solution?
Yes, sir.
And that would be what?
if this situation was made
I mean,
aware.
I'm just talking about this individual.
Well, I mean, any situation that comes before us, so we're not blowing off the public. We're definitely responding in a very timely manner. In any situation that we deal with, when it deals with an animal in a trap, if the person is able to bring the animal in, then we would take it from them. But if they state that they can't handle it, whether it be elderly or handicap or something to that effect, then we would definitely go out and take care of the animal.
Okay, so if I trap an animal, I can bring it to you in my own trap, my own pickup truck, that's fine?
Yes, sir.
That's all I've got right now, thank you.
Anyone else? Let's see, Ms. Bowman. Okay, Ms. Escudé has spoken. Okay.
Well, I was basically gonna say some of what he said, and that's, I mean, knowing that a lot of things have changed since the last time I served on this body. But I also look at the fact that we all represent citizens, and we have to look at the fact that we are in a service position and providing service to the citizens that we represent. However, I do recall several years ago, and I don't know what happened to Rick Quinlan.
He retired.
He did. Well, I called Rick one time, and he came out, and I mean, one of my constituents had squirrels getting in the top of the house, and of course, nobody could ever catch them. So Rick drove by, and he took care of that problem. Dead in the eye. I mean, and he rammed them up on the back of his truck. It was amazing to see that he could do it quite that well. But I just look at the fact that citizens pay taxes and we provide service. Maybe it is something we need to look at again.
That's it, Ms. Bowman?
Yes, sir, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Cox?
I want to go back in history because animal control has basically been something I've really tagged on to. For years, I have been telling this commission we need to look at their budget. When something happens as far as animal control, a dog attacks a child or somebody has trouble in the neighborhood or we can't get somebody from up north or down south on the weekends, when is this commission, and I'm to blame too, so when I put blame on myself, I'm going to put blame on everybody here, is that when are we going to stand up, look at the problem that we have, address the problem, fix the problem for the citizens of Shreveport and Caddo Parish. Then go to the city of Shreveport and say 90% of the calls are in Shreveport. They need to come in and do something as well. If not, we need to do something where the citizens understand what they have to do. This is their department. They're paying for it through their taxes. But yet services are still behind. Everett's probably has done a lot to get us to a point where we have better qualified people out on the street. I just found out a minute ago we have 3 being pro-certified right now. Now that may seem like overkill in the...
We're going to shoot the dog to help.
There's a procedure going through that you have to basically do certain things. You just can't send anybody out there. So this department needs help so we can give our citizens help that we need. Jim and I, Southern Hills is overflooded with cats. So my question to us is, when are we going to actually sit down and give this man the help he needs? And that help would be money. Thank you.
Smith?
This dog situation, if I remember correctly, is going on about 2 years. I don't know how many times Mr. Robson's come to the office and we called and did what we're supposed to do. And sometimes I think you go out, sometimes I don't know if you do enough, but nothing ever gets resolved on the situation. Now, the cat situation, we bought our own traps, we caught them, called to get them picked up. We no longer do that. You have to bring them to us. But if that's a rule everybody goes by, I did not understand the rule, but I promise you I can abide by the rule. But I sure pay a lot of taxes on that little plot of land out there. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Mr. Wilson?
Yes, sir. Appreciate the opportunity to speak on this issue. We talked about this back in September when we had our budget retreat about the need for additional manpower. In the last 10 years, we only replaced one person that we were short of within that department, so we really haven't added any manpower. As you all recall, Mr. Bill Robinson was gracious enough to give us $75,000 a year to hire 2 people, a coordinator and an animal adoption person. And that funding went away. I came to the commission, you all allowed me to increase the budget by $45,000 to keep part of that operation intact. We did do that. 4 years ago, we went to talk to the mayor about the street port coming on board and funding us, helping us out with this issue. And they told us no. What they did allow us to do was to increase our tipping use at the landfill without adding any cost to the budget. That equated to about $70,000 in tipping fee. So we discontinued the incinerator operation down at Animal Services and utilize more of the landfill. So we've always had an issue with manpower. We had 9 officers covering 900 square miles of parish. It's a difficult task to accomplish. Their budget is shared with the health services folks over on Crestwell. That's about $600,000 plus that come out of that budget. If I take a penny more out of the existing budget now, Ms. Jerry Perry would be all over my back saying, listen, Mr. Wilson, the state is cutting my budget. I can't stand for you to take any more out of that budget because that budget is shared with Animal Services. They don't have a dedicated millage to run Animal Services. Perhaps we should have it, but we don't. So the money they have is that we have to scratch it to go a long way. And certainly, we talk about this again, how will we fund it? And it's still yet unresolved. And it's a matter, I like to put more people on the street to be able to give immediate response to the citizens when they come in. But it's a practical matter. When you have less people, you can't get that. It is a time lag. And certainly, we don't want to turn anybody away, but we have to look at ways we can effectively do the job with the existing manpower that we have. That's all I'm going to say on that.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Thibodeau.
Mr. Wilson, could you bring us, in your opinion, just bring up to the commission?
Yes, sir.
What you believe that the animal services needs in the way of, if it's people, it sounds like we need more cages maybe or whatever, maybe another vehicle, whatever we need, not where we're never going to be able to respond immediately unless it's an emergency.
Yes, sir.
But to be able to respond better, much quicker than we do now. And I mean, bring us what we need, specifically what do we need in the way of whatever it is we need so we can go ahead and address it.
We'll do that, sir.
Is there anyone that has not spoken in the first go-round, getting ready for the second go-round? Anyone that has not spoken or would like to speak? Okay, Ms. Escudé, second go-round.
Just have a brief comment. Mr. Harris, I'm really pleased with the job you've done. I don't have a problem with the job you've done. What concerns me is the fact that the citizen has to physically come down here. And I don't know all the details, and we haven't heard them all, so I'm not making judgment, but the fact that somebody's got to come down here, so somebody somewhere dropped the ball. That's the only thing that concerns me. I know our resources are spread thin. We do the best we can. I'm like Commissioner Thibodeau. I would also ultimately like to see more people on the streets. And I realize that Mr. Robinson had funded those positions, but those positions weren't people on the streets. This is like policing.
That's correct.
You know, and if you got everybody in administration and you got just 5 officers out there, I mean, you know, you're not taking care of business. So I agree with Commissioner Thibodeau. I'd like to look at it, see if we can increase the force. We'll never be able to, our forces immediately respond, but perhaps at least have some mechanism where we don't drop the ball anymore. And I would like to hopefully see that we could clear up this private owners being able to trap the animals. I mean, you know, that's a lot of labor off of us if we could find a way to get it if they were too old or not. You know, if it meant just having a private contractor just go pick up cages and all that kind of stuff and bring them off to you guys rather than our people in our vehicle. There's got to be some other options out there. We've got plenty of animals, and I imagine with all of the activity, and I hate to, you know, the new industries coming in, all industries, all the activity, I mean, you know, animals are getting, you know, having to be driven into tighter and tighter spaces, coming in neighborhoods more often because they don't have any place else to go as the parish develops and the rural areas develop. So it's just, the problem's not going away. But anyway, I do want you to know I appreciate your efforts. You do a good job. I'm very pleased with you. So. Ms. Bowden, second
Yes,
go
sir,
around.
just one other question. When you mentioned that you all talked to the city of Shreveport, Woody, you spoke directly to the mayor's office, right?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Because I didn't recall any of this coming before us, and,
We spoke directly to the mayor. We spoke directly to the mayor.
right,
Yes, ma'am.
because I, of course, had a problem with one of my Rottweilers that died. And, of course, I called the city, and they told me to drag him out to the garbage and, put him out there in a bag, and they'll come by, at some point and pick him up. And I thought that was horrible, and of course I voiced that opinion to them, but they need to find another way to address issues like that as well. Of course, I just want to bury him, but it was just the idea that they tell citizens to put them in a bag and drag them out on the street. I think that's awful.
It is.
Okay.
I prefer we to
They
do
used
business,
to do that
but,
to your husband when he died, didn't
Well, guess what? I would have done that with,
they? What did he say?
Okay, that's it?
yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Harris.
Particular situation.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, anyone else that would like to address the commission? Okay, next item, Mr. President.
Next, we have visitors, we have Mr. Thomas Rice, Comcast Cable, Shreveport General Manager, and Ms. Patricia Collins, Comcast Government Affairs Representative.
Okay. Mr. Rice, you may give your name and your address for the record and introduce Ms. Collins, and you all may proceed.
Okay. My name is Tom Rice. I'm the general manager in Shreveport, and my address is on Quillen Road at the office there. And this is Patricia Collins. She is our area government affairs director.
And I'm based in Huntsville, Alabama, and this is my first time to Shreveport. And I'm enjoying my stay, flew in, love the airport, and look forward to talking to you today and answering your questions.
We got that on tape.
We got that on tape.
The airport. I don't know what the airport is. I love the airport.
Very underused, so it stays in good shape. It doesn't get a lot of wear. Mr. Rice, Ms. Collins, I had spoken with you earlier in reference to coming by and visiting with us, based upon a number of complaints that I personally had received in reference to some issues involving the cable, customer service, and things of that nature, outages. And you and I had spoken, on the telephone. You stated that you were going to wait until Ms. Collins was able to come here. So that's why you're on the agenda today. And matter of fact, I had a chance to get a call in to you this weekend, and I appreciate the way that you resolved that.
Thank you.
Got a call back from that citizen, and they were very pleased with the situation, as the way that they responded to.
Thank you.
So at this time, for maybe some of the new commissioners, the Parish of Caddo, and we get a franchise fee from the cable company that operates within the parish. We also receive a fee from Cable Management and Associates. And I had Ms. Bryan to run us a copy of the amounts that we have received from these fees for the last 5 years. And at this time, Mr. Rice, would ask you about some services. I received a complaint about an individual stated that a cable person came out and was going to turn their cable off. He wanted $25 cash because he stated that that's the way he got paid, in addition to the bill that he had to keep from turning that individual's cable off, and would not give them a signed receipt. So some of these things we want to clear up and make sure that we're getting the facts. And if there's some situation that's going on within the community, and we know that we're going to have problems, people are going to try ways to circumvent services and things of that nature, be they legal or illegal. We'd just like to hear from you as to what we can do to help resolve some of these complaints and issues with our constituents.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, anybody that we're sent, we do have sales representatives that do knock on doors and sell cable. That's one. And they all have an ID badge that identifies them as Comcast employee. And at times, and most of the time, that when a customer orders cable from one of these representatives, they will collect the down payment for that particular, and some of the back balance, maybe on the previous services that they have. If they look them up on the computer and they have a back balance, they'll collect that at the time of the sale. That's one situation, but again, they do have a badge. We also have people that knock on doors for extreme late payments. So if somebody's in the rears of, say, 2 months, there'll be somebody that knocks on the door as a courtesy before they disconnect the cable service. And that would be somebody that's collecting a back balance, and they also do collect money at the time. But they also are identified with a badge representing Comcast Cable. So those would be the two situations where somebody might do that. If you run into somebody or a complaint from a customer that's saying, hey, this gentleman was asking for money, had no identification, and everything, then I certainly would like to get a call or something like that, and we can investigate from our end to find out what's going on, or we can tell you at that point in time that this person did, whoever that was, did not represent the cable company, and we can pursue action based on that.
And any money collected, we would also...
Come to the mic, Ms. Collins.
Oh, excuse me. Any money collected, we would also give them a receipt, and so that could be posted to their account.
Okay. What about, I also had a concern, they stated that it appears what they wanted them to sign, that they would not give them a copy of, stated that they could investigate their credit and things of that nature. Is that on the item that you sent out?
If there's a sales representative and they sign up a customer for service, and the customer orders a service that requires a digital box, and the box, the DVR box, for example, is an item worth about $400. Before that order goes through, we do background check, not background check, but a financial check on their services. So he does collect enough information to be able to do that. If they're collecting money at that time, they would give a receipt to the customer. But there is a check, a financial check on the customer at that point in time before the order goes through.
And we do have a local number that's available 24/7. So anytime a Comcast customer has questions, maybe is not comfortable with the person they are speaking to, they can call that number. They will get a Comcast employee. That Comcast employee is going to be able to give them all the information on their account, their balance due, and any other information. So that's a great way for them to be able to identify immediately what the situation is if they feel uncomfortable. But our people, our Comcast employees, will identify themselves as such. And there should be documentation, paperwork that our customers would be able to sign. But again, that 24/7 number is available. And we also have a Comcast customer guarantee. So within 30 days, if a customer is not satisfied with our products, we will refund their money 100%. And our goal with our Comcast customer guarantee is to satisfy our customers the first time. And if we do not, then we will work with them on either a free service, or if we are late for an appointment, we will credit their account $20. So we are in the process of listening to our customers, making sure that we are resolving their issues on the first matter, and making sure that they are satisfied with the products and services they're receiving from us.
In addition to that, also, we do a post-call after every interaction with our customers. There's a post-call that's made on a survey about how the service went, how the technician responded to their needs, that kind of thing, and we do collect that information as well.
Excuse me for getting right in the question and answer section. Did you have maybe a formal presentation that you wanted to do
Well,
Jumping the
we
gun.
did want to talk to you about the World of More.
Okay, please feel free to do that, and then what we'll do after we listen to that, then I see some other commissioners have some questions, and we'll go into that aspect.
All right. And what we're listening, earlier I said we're talking to our customers, and our customers are telling us they want more high-definition channels, they want more internet speeds. So this year, we're not sure about the date yet, but when we solidify that, we'll contact you to let you know. But we did want to let you know what Comcast is going to be doing here in your community. We're going to be offering more high definition. We're going to have an all-digital platform so that all of your channels and your picture and your sound is 100% digital. And through that, we're going to be offering more choice through our on-demand product. If you are a digital customer today, you have an on-demand product. That's the majority of the programming is free. You go into a library and it offers, programming, sports, children's programming, gym, workouts. So there's just a library of information there for you, and that's free to our digital customers. We're going to be expanding that. We're going to be also expanding our phone features. Comcast does offer phone as well as internet. We're looking at faster internet speeds up to 50 megabytes per second. Currently, we offer 6 and 8 megs. So when you think about 50, there's quite a bit of faster speed there. The 50 megabytes will be an additional speed, but when we go from 6 to 8, the 6 megs, if you're currently a 6 meg customer, you will go to 12 at no additional charge, and the 8 meg will go to 20 at no additional charge. So all this is great and wonderful, new exciting products and services. How are we going to do this? We're going to take the platform that we have in place, and we're going to take our analog spectrum and we're going to convert it to a digital spectrum. So if you are a limited basic customer today, you're receiving the broadcast stations and maybe home shopping and maybe a news or sports channel, then you get about maybe 20 channels, less than $20 a month. Then you are a limited basic customer, and what we will do is we will give you a digital box free of charge. Up to 3, we will provide free of charge. And with that, you're going to get more channels, up to 7 more channels through this digital conversion that we're going to do this year. Also, if you're an expanded or a full basic customer, you're receiving channels 2 through 90, 100, about 70 to 100 channels. We're going to take those full basic channels and we're going to convert them to digital. And so in order to continue to receive those channels that you're receiving today, you will need a digital box. And your first 3 boxes will be free. Now, if you're a full basic customer, this is really good news because you also get the on-demand programming that I was talking to you about, that library of majority of free content. You're going to get digital choice music. You're also going to get the interactive TV guide. And the first box, and it's a more advanced box, and it is free to the first, your first box is free for the full basic customer. And then your next 2 boxes will be the digital terminal adapter. And it is not two-way, but you will get all the additional channels. You will not get the on-demand or the music choice or interactive guide. So, I talked about the limited basic customers, your full basic, and then the types of boxes that we have. We'll provide 3 boxes for free. So if you have a 4th, 5th, or 6th box, it'll be $1.99 per box per month. We've done studies. The average household has about 3 televisions per month. And so we will provide the first 3 digital devices for free. We're going to be communicating on a neighborhood-by-neighborhood basis. We'll be sending out 60-day letters. We'll be sending out 30-day letters, postcards, telemarketing, because we really need to make sure our customers know about this digital transition, all the new wonderful products and services that it's going to offer, as well as making sure they get a digital box. The majority of our customers have a digital box. We're worried about that second and third television set. And again, we're going to provide that box for free for that second and third television.
We're going to spend a lot of time and energy in making sure that we do not make that change until we get enough boxes out there. So we're going to measure as this goes through what our deployment rates are and how many homes have boxes. So really by the time we decide to make the change, it's after several times of trying to communicate to the customer via the mail, phone calls, or whatever, and then we'll make the cut, and then there'll be a quick process to get the customers that didn't respond taken care of when they call in. So we expect some calls at the end, but we're going to minimize that by getting as many out there as we possibly can before we actually make the cut.
And we're going to be setting up a web page that our customers can go to order their boxes. We also will be setting up an 800 number that our customers can go to and order these boxes. We will mail these boxes free of charge to our customers. We also, of course, have a local office here, and then we have a 24/7 call center that is located in the South. So we just wanted to share this news with you. We're excited about the offerings that Comcast continues to provide in this community. We're continuing to invest in our plant and our employees. And I think the World of More is just another opportunity for you to know who we are and what we're doing, as well as if you have a business that's relocating here. One of the things one of the questions I'm constantly being asked is, who's the internet provider in your community? And so most people know Comcast being the largest cable operator in the country, as well as the largest residential broadband provider. So it is an opportunity for you to be able to talk about who we are as a company and to answer any of your constituent questions.
All right, thank you. At this time, we have comments and questions. Ms. Bowman?
Sure do have one, and thank you for coming. I think I should address this question to you, Ms. Collins, because you mentioned that you have the local number, but the calls that we make from here or in Alabama go to somebody in Alabama who doesn't live here, doesn't know any of the streets in this area, know nothing about Shreveport. And of course, we have a call center here in the city, but yet most of the calls that they take are from God knows where, but the calls the majority of the citizens here make are off somewhere else too. No one locally talks to the average customer in reference to not just their bill, but their services as well. That is a problem. Another issue is people who have Comcast for their cable services, as well as phone service, as well as the internet service. Well, if your cable is off, you can't use anything. Those are some of the complaints that I've certainly received, in the past. But one of the things that really bothers me is the fact that the citizens here speak to someone else when we have a call center here. Is there any way that you all can divert or maybe have this call center do take some of these calls locally? Are you planning on hiring anybody because of all of the new activity that's going to be taking place?
Like any large company, what's happened is Comcast did centralize their call center. Ours is in North Alabama, in Huntsville. And you're right, somebody that calls that local number does get routed to the Huntsville. Those folks are equipped. They have all the information about Shreveport that they need to answer the phones, and it should be a professional conversation, and their issue should get taken care of. The calls do get routed to we don't have a call center here locally. We have a dispatch team here that the calls get routed to, and then they dispatch those out to our technicians in the field. And so that works pretty good, and has been working, even though they're not right here in Shreveport. So the customer should not get inferior service because the call center's in North Alabama. And if that happens, I would like to know about that, and we can look at those individual cases to find out what's going on or where it fell through the cracks if it did. But for the most part, it should be the same level of service that they had when they had a local person here. Oh yeah, we do employ about 104 employees here in Shreveport, in this community. And
are you planning on hiring anyone locally for all of the new activities that you just finished mentioning?
Well, with this digital conversion, what we are learning is that the picture and the quality and the sound is much better, which is one of the reasons why we want to go to this technology. And it has decreased customer issues across the country in areas where we have actually launched this.
Okay, what about the addressing the issue with the basic service, for instance, Comcast for the cable, internet services, all of this is in one, and if you have a power outage or something goes on, well, not so much a power outage, but when your cable is off, it goes out for one reason or another, you don't have your phone service, you don't have the internet either. Now, I've had a lot of calls about stuff like that.
You know, and you're right. I mean, in a scenario where, all three services are carried on the same cable line to your house, we do have our EMTA, which is the device or the modem for the phone service, and even the internet. If you have both internet and phone, would come out of the EMTA. That EMTA has an 8-hour battery in it. So if the power, for example, goes out at the house, the phone should still work. But there's caveats to that. If the power goes out for the whole area, you should still have phone because all of our power supplies have battery backup. But those battery backups on our power supplies last roughly about 4 hours. So if the power outage is longer than 4 hours, that power supply will drop off. When we have surveillance equipment that tells us that battery is about to expire as far as its time goes, and we get a technician out to that location with a generator that keeps power on that power supply for that period of time. So there's a lot of backups to the backups on this network, and but there are times when the cable, the signal itself, if the cable breaks, for example, somewhere along the line, if there's a break in the cable, you will lose all three services. And we do have technicians on call 24/7. We respond immediately, that sort of thing, or any other cable interruption in the network.
We are monitoring our cable system 24/7.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
That's it, Ms. Bowman?
But now.
Okay. Mr. Thibodeau? Mr. Thibodeau.
Do you know what your hold time is now? If I call for a service call, what's your average hold time?
I
haven't
don't.
seen the latest report, but typically, when I've called, I test it every so often, and I see reports from time to time. It's typically 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
And that's for service?
For service, any kind of sales line.
The only complaint I've had about cable is, I guess it would be probably in the extended basic, or where you have maybe 60 channels, something like that, that you've done away with several channels over the last 6 months to a year, but there's been no decrease in the cost of the, and if it's been replaced with anything, it's been another shopping channel or, something that is the last thing we need.
Well, and you bring up a great point, because what we have been communicating to those customers to continue to receive the channels that we have moved from analog to digital to get ready for the digital transition, if they will come in, we will give them a free digital box. Not only will they get those channels that that we moved, they will also get the interactive guide, the on-demand, so we're giving them more for the same price that they're currently paying.
Okay.
So thank you for that question.
Thank you. Mr. Dominique?
What is the percentage franchise fee that we're getting?
Yes,
It's
sir.
based upon gross sales, is it 5% or 3%, do you know?
You are at the maximum federal law of 5% franchise fees on gross subscriber revenue.
Does that include cable and internet and the phone, or is it just cable?
It's just cable, and that is by federal law. You only can receive 5% of franchise fees on cable.
And when is our franchise fee going to expire?
Your franchise agreement?
Yes.
Yes, sir. It expired December of 2010.
Okay?
Now,
So we have not renewed that.
no, sir, and it is my understanding that you are a home rule charter. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so you have the option. Recently, the state issued a statewide franchise. So when a community is a home rule charter, it is my understanding that you have the option to continue to negotiate at the local level, or you can, you tell us, and then we would file for a statewide franchise.
The next question I have is, the franchise fee that you are paying us is based upon the rural areas. It does not include, I'm talking about to the Caddo Parish Commission, it does not include the city of Shreveport.
You're correct.
And where are those areas? I'm from up north, I have Mako, so I have a total difference. I'm trying to figure out where you are. Obviously you have the city of Shreveport.
Yes,
You
sir,
got
we
Greenwood because
have a separate franchise with Shreveport. I'm trying to think if I brought those list of franchises with me.
But you're asking what part?
what part of the geographic do you serve, and where are we receiving this? The rural area where I'm from, the municipalities, they're all served by Mako, but I'll be honest with you, everybody that's outside of municipality, they're on a satellite or dish. The cables just don't go out in the parish. So I'm trying to figure out where y'all serve. Is there some of these subdivisions outside the city of Greenwood and outside the city of Shreveport that y'all are serving with your Comcast that is allowing us to collect these franchise fees and franchise document? Is that pretty much accurate?
Yes. Yeah, we have everything, we have everything outside the city limits in Caddo, outside the city limits of Shreveport, like Greenwood, like you mentioned, Greenwood, and between the city of Shreveport essentially and the Texas state line, all the rural areas.
That's,
Does that answer your question?
yeah, I guess that we as commission to decide which way we're going to go with the negotiation at some point in the future.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's it, Mr. Dominique?
That's it.
Mr. Lynn? I'm sorry.
Sir?
It's about 4,500
Homes that y'all serve?
customers, Sorry.
Mr. Lynn?
When a Comcast customer loses service due to no fault of their own, do you prorate their bill accordingly?
Yes, sir. If they were to call our customer service office, we would certainly credit their account.
And what is the process is just to call what number?
We would call our local number.
We're at the 318.
I don't either. Let me see. We don't have that local number on us, but it's
So 4,000.
213-4100.
So you simply call the number and tell them the amount of time that you were without your service, and then it is prorated to that amount?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, that's all.
If I may, forgive me for going ahead of Ms. Baker, but this is relevant with Mr. Lynn. Mr. Rice, the lady that I called you about Saturday night, she said they came out, they did resolve the problem. It was outside. And she called me a little bit before I come to the commission meeting that they had come back and put a bill in her door for $61. Now, she's a senior. She would have no idea how to do it. So
I don't know.
Should she have been billed? Do you have contractors or what?
No, the gentleman that I sent out was our on-call technician. He has no ties to any billing or any documents. There should be no bill for the service that we gave her that night.
Okay, well, she read it to me over the phone. She can't get it down here to me, but I'll certainly get it. But she says total $61 for what he did Saturday night and had Comcast cable on.
I can follow up on that.
Yes,
I have no
okay.
idea why.
I'll get you her number. You can call her direct, maybe.
Okay.
Okay, next will be Ms. Baker.
Will the rates increase on all this new services that you all are offering the customers?
Not, no ma'am, the World of More, we are doing just to continue to invest and provide high-speed internet speeds, additional speeds, as well as high-definition channels. So when this conversion takes place this year, and again, we will get those dates when we know exactly, it's very fluid because we want to make sure our customers are ready. But once we do that transition, there will not be any additional fees involved unless our customers want more than 3 boxes, or if they want to increase to the 50 speed.
So that when you convert it from the analog to digital, like Commissioner Thibodeau was asking earlier, and they lost some channels, and you said that they could come in and get a box and they can get the channels back, is no rate increase for that?
No, ma'am. And we provide the box free of charge with the additional services of on-demand, the interactive video guide, as well as digital choice music.
Does commercial get 3 free boxes as well if they have Comcast at their company?
Commercial, and I apologize, I'm more on the residential.
It doesn't apply to the commercial accounts. This is targeted to residential. Their services will be subject to this, and I don't know exactly how many free boxes we're offering to commercial, but I can check into that.
Okay. On the information that you were giving out and talking about all the new services, is there any way, who gets this new information price list? Does just the customers or non-customers and customers, everybody, or?
Well, for the World of More, we are targeting our customers. So if you are a Comcast customer, you will be receiving this information from us.
So if you're a non-customer, you never had Comcast, you won't know anything about it.
You know, we'll be advertising it and that sort of thing. It may be out in the media, but it's not anything we're going to target on non-customer. These are mostly to accommodate the customers we currently have, so they have the least amount of interruption of service or impact.
Okay. And the last thing, and this is, I have to say I don't have Comcast, but I have family members that do. I've called before, but one of the things, just to kind of comment on Commissioner Bowman, is that even if it's Comcast or DirecTV or AT&T, Bell South, whoever, it kind of worries me when we are calling for services and we get somebody on the phone that doesn't even know how to pronounce Shreveport, and then you try to tell them that you have a problem or issue with something that you're using, the services that you're using in Shreveport. They can't even pronounce Shreveport. They mispronounce Shreveport. It kind of lets me know right then that you don't have a clue of where I am, of what, how to find me, how to find what my problem is. So that kind of bothers, especially seniors, when they're calling and trying to get some service, and they got somebody on the phone that can hardly speak English, doesn't know how to pronounce Shreveport, and doesn't have a clue what they're trying to say. So that's one of the reasons why we were really trying to get some local services here, especially for talking to someone to get us some.
And we're sensitive to that matter, which is why we are a local company and we have a local office here with 104 employees. We're also involved in the community. We have a volunteer day every year called the Comcast Cares Day. And recently, we just issued a $25,000 grant to the Shreveport Boys and Girls Club. So we are local, we are involved, and we do take those matters seriously. But hopefully when you call into our call center, it should be a seamless situation in that we resolve your matter. And again, we have that Comcast customer guarantee in place so that if we're not resolving your issue, your matter, then we will be offering you a free service.
Thank you, Mr. President. That was all I had.
Mr. Escudé?
You said your main call center's in Huntsville?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any that are overseas that would service this area?
We have, sometimes with the overflow of Huntsville, our Huntsville call center, because it's hard to gauge exactly the flow of calls that you get in. Every so often, you hit an overflow period. Sometimes those go to third-party call centers, which could be overseas.
But as a general rule, a call from here would end up in Huntsville.
Yes.
So if you speak Alabama, you shouldn't have too much problem. Speaking Indian or something like that. Okay. Just to follow up on what you're saying about the transit, is this going to be a transition when they change the nationwide signal? Or did I misunderstand? If there's a current basic services customer now that doesn't have a box, they're going to have a box to continue services, or they're going to have a box to get the additional services? Which is it going to be?
They're both. They're going to need an additional box. So
everybody's going to have if you don't have a box, you have to have a box.
Yes.
If you're connected to Comcast cable service.
Okay, and if you have a box, which I've got bunches of them, want to have new boxes?
No, sir.
No.
No. These are primarily for the second, third outlet where somebody has their cable hooked directly to their TV. We have the small DTA box that allows it to convert.
Okay, well, I recall getting a letter a couple of months ago, about the upgrade and all at the house, and it was talking about, they were going to have to upgrade the boxes. Was that sent erroneously or something?
There's one small issue we have here in Shreveport. We have an older version box. It's a Pioneer box. We have about 900 of those Pioneer boxes out there.
I'm the lucky one.
We sent letters out about that. We're trying to retrieve those in and trade them with the other ones because those particular boxes aren't compatible with the encryption that we are going to put in place for this.
Okay, so basically, people that have premium services, they're pretty cool. But people that have basic services, word's got to get out to them. If they don't have a box, they're not going to get it.
Yes, sir.
And one last thing. I know you can't do anything about this, and I don't live in Bossier, but, they get a sports station that gets Louisiana sportsmen, and we can't get that here, and we're in Louisiana. Get redfish, speckled trout, see if y'all can work on that. Get rid of one of these shopping channels, or these animal channels. There's too many animal channels or something.
We have the sports channel.
Louisiana sportsmen. You ever been down to Grand Isle?
No.
I'll take you down there for a week and you're going to get that channel, I promise. Thank you. You'll never come back. You're going to know. You'll get that channel and you won't come back.
Mr. Johnson? Yes, I used to be a Comcast customer, and one of the problems I had was when I first got the service, they ran the line, and the line sat on the ground for like 3 weeks. And I called and said, well, we have a subcontractor that comes out and bury the line. I think that should have been told up front that, it was going to be exposed for that long period of time because it ran along the driveway and then came across the driveway. So it was kind of an eyesore. Second thing is, once they did hook it up and all that, the signal strength was too weak. So I had to deal with that. I went out and bought a booster to get better signal, and that still didn't work. And they said, well, since I stay so far out, because I'm on the north side of the parish, that it just wasn't going to get any better. So with this upgrade, will the signal strength increase or will it be the same?
Well, you got a couple of issues there. First of all, the drop, for us to put the drop, we do send somebody out to do an install. They don't have the machinery to be able to bury the drop appropriately, but we do get to they should communicate that to the customer, that somebody will be out to bury the drop, and we get somebody out there in a 3 to 5 day window, and I see those reports daily to make sure that that happens on time. So I don't know how that one slipped through the cracks, but if that's one issue that should not happen. And the other one is that we have enough signal right now at every tap port, at every home pass that we pass, to be able to support all the services we have. So I'm not sure who communicated that, but that is not accurate.
Okay. Well, that was the technician that was at my house.
And we should be able to resolve that. If you ever have something like that, feel free to call me directly. I can look into it and find out what's going on with that particular thing, because that's not right.
And that's the 213-4100 number?
No, that's...
Well, give me your number then.
That's what I was just about to ask you, if you...
Tom, if you would just write that out, we won't want the whole parish.
I'll leave my card.
Okay,
So you
all right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it, Mr. Johnson?
Yes, that's it.
Second go round, anyone that has not spoken? Ms. Bowden?
No, that's what,
Okay, so,
That's my card.
Tom is gonna give you all his card with the number.
and I'm gonna call you.
Okay, let's see. Now, I just have basic cable. I have no kind of box whatsoever, so I would be one that will have to get the boxes, right?
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Are most of your employees now, your installation and your service technicians, are they contract employees, or are they,
We have
with Comcast? What percentage of
104
contract?
employees that I have. We had, the 104 that I mentioned earlier are employed by Comcast. We carry, we're actually 4 overhead count right now, so we actually have more than 104. And we've gone over head count for a lot of reasons, but we also have right now 7 contractors. So we've minimized, we used to have 14, so we minimized the contractor level that we have, and we're pretty much trying to do everything with in-house employees.
Okay. So that doesn't mean that you 17 contractors that gonna double the burden on the 7 remaining, right? That means that you're gonna use 7 more from in-house
Right.
at Comcast,
Right.
okay?
Now, with that said, that's a step that I mentioned. As peaks and valleys come in, that's what we use our contractors for, is if we get a wave of activity, we'll add a contractor or 2 more than the 7, but typically we're going to try to stay at 7.
Okay, senior friendly, you know, the area I call you about is a complete senior citizens complex. And they, you know, as Ms. Bowman and others stated, they don't hear that well as far as conversing on the telephone. They do not have computers, so are you all considering an outreach program that may go to some of these facilities where you can directly respond to those seniors there that may not be as astute as younger people are, and computer literate or whatever, but that's the only form of entertainment that they have, and the least
Are you talking
expensive
about
at this
reaching
point
out
in
to
time.
them on the...
Yes, ma'am, to let them know what's happening here.
Yeah.
Because I imagine the majority of them don't have all those premium channels.
Right.
They probably just got basic. So if we would make sure we make an effort that those complexes that has a large influx of senior citizens clearly understand what's going on.
We can take a look at, in this plan of the rollout for the DTAs, we can get a sales rep to come in and have a meeting in the lobby or whatever,
Right.
and give them face-to-face directions.
Right.
One of the things, because we are sensitive to that, is on these DTAs, they're really small, and the standard remote, a lot of times is an issue with seniors because the buttons are too small. We have another remote for that purpose, and we offer that out as well for free. So we'll do whatever we can to accommodate those customers.
Before you leave, I'm sorry, Mr. Cox?
Real quick, I know your revenues are going up, my cable bill's going up all the time. How's your subscriptions going? Are they increasing over from year to year, or are you staying at a certain level and just getting your revenue from the increases, or what?
We're still, we had some growth in certain types of areas. You know, CDB is our phone service is still a growth product, and our internet service, but video is pretty much status quo right now. But we're continually, pushing that hard. I mean, we've got a lot more competition today than we had before, and it's a competitive environment we're in.
Yep, okay.
Okay. One more question, Wi-Fi, broadband in rural areas. I've gotten, matter of fact, just got a couple of letters last week from rural citizens in the parish. Are you all contemplating entering that market?
As far as the Wi-Fi, like having a
Yeah.
community Wi-Fi,
Right.
not necessarily. We haven't done a lot of that.
Okay.
And there's a lot of reasons for it, but essentially we prefer to get to the customer's house and provide the service at the home.
Okay. Mr. Grubb and Mr. Wilson, did I understand them right that we're at the point where we should be renegotiating a new contract?
That's correct.
Okay. We were working on that, right?
Well, this is the first I've heard of this, Commissioner, and I have 2 business cards here that I'm fixing to give them and ask them to get somebody to call me about this tomorrow.
And if I would like also the Intergovernmental and Professional Organizations Committee to work closely with the administration.
That's my committee.
Right, that's you. You've heard of this. And if we would, let's work closely with them and make sure that we see what we can do in the best interest of Comcast Cable and the citizens of Caddo Parish.
I want free cable.
Give me a discount, baby.
Mr. Rice, Ms. Collins, we appreciate you coming. Very enlightening, and I'll get with you about that beer. I would want to disclose it publicly, and we appreciate you coming. Any final comments or questions? Okay, and if you would,
Taking your time.
would you leave a copy of your presentation with me?
Yes. Mr. Webb, may I give you my business card? I'm sorry, sir, who would?
Right, and they'll run copies and pass it out. Thomas, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your cooperation during all files.
Thank you very much. Nice meeting you.
Okay. Next order, Mr. Kirk.
Administration report, sir. We got Commissioners and President Epson, we have yesterday Ms. Liz Wayne from the DDA, and she has a presentation she'd like to share with us today.
Thank you all.
Hello, Liz Wayne.
Hello. And look, everybody leaves the room. Thank you, Mr. Epperson. My name is Liz Wayne. I'm the Executive Director of the Downtown Development Authority, and that is 401 Edwards Street, Suite 225, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71101. I'm only going to take about an hour of your time. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to do the speed read version. You sit back down, Mr. Cox. Things are so exciting and so hot in downtown Shreveport that we have literally blown the air conditioning out of this building, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you right now. I think that a lot of you have been looking at the newspaper and the local media, and you've seen that there has been activity in downtown Shreveport over the past few weeks, and what I wanted to do today was just a very brief overview of some of the things going on downtown, because I know your constituents will call you or they'll talk to you at events and they'll say, hey, what's the story? And it's important that you know the story so that you can tell them. I left a business card for you on your desk. If at any time you need to talk to me about anything, please feel free to call that cell phone number unless it's after 8 o'clock at night or before 6 o'clock in the morning. Actually, if it's you, call anytime. I may or may not answer. We do have such exciting things happening. I don't know if you can see the monitor in front of you. It's got the Sears and Beer buildings. We had an announcement a couple of weeks ago about 3 buildings in the 600 block of Texas Street. Very exciting. We've got an outside developer from New Orleans bringing $15 million of his personal money to put into those 3 buildings. Many of us who grew up in Shreveport have memories of those buildings being something other than what they are now. And thank heavens that we found somebody willing to come in and walk the talk, put those buildings back into retail, a combination of not only housing, but retail and commercial. There you see the artist rendering to the right, and he's going to take those facades back to what they look like pre-1940, so it's going to be very lovely. On that same block, the Allen Building in the 600 block of Texas Street, Southern University is going to be using that building for their nursing school, and that announcement is going to be coming very soon. Again, so one end of the block, you've got the Sears and Beard building, the other end of the block, you've got the Allen Building. Right up the street in the 700 block of Texas Street, Art Space, which is run by Shreveport Regional Arts Council, but that is a building that is actually owned by the Downtown Development Authority, is going to be expanding. You see that area where the poster is hanging down? It's going to be expanding, getting more gallery space, moving the lovely dining facility downtown so it can then spill out onto the sidewalk, and it's going to create a lovely area for downtown, and also part of that area that we call the West Edge. And the West Edge is going to be getting a big boost from the Shreveport Regional Arts Council and their partners, which certainly include the Caddo Parish Commission, through this area called the Shreveport Common, which is going to be anchored on one end by the West Edge, on the other that pie-shaped triangle. You see the municipal auditorium over there. And this is going to be where a lot is going to be happening. That Central Arts Station, which is the old Central Fire Station, is going to become the headquarters for the Shreveport Regional Arts Council. They've already raised over $5 million in private funding and some governmental funding and grants in order to be able to do this. All of this is going to start construction by 2012. ArtSpace is actually going to be starting construction this year. Millennium Studio, right across from the First United Methodist Church. Millennium is almost completed. That is 2 studios, not only a digital production studio, which is doing digital work for movies all over the world, but also actually a sound stage. That is bringing an additional more than 100 people into downtown. This is a development called the Novena. It's right across the street from the Strand Theater on Crockett Street. There's a general developer named Dorette Vanderberg who is doing this project, and it's going to be upscale condominiums on the top floor. Joyce, I'm so sorry, the penthouse is sold.
That's a
I
shame.
tried to get your name on that.
What a shame.
I know, I'm sorry about that, that there are 11 other condominiums that are under construction right now. The downstairs is going to be upscale office space. So for the first time in downtown Shreveport, you'll be able to go from your upscale condominium in your, if you'd like to, your Snuggie, walk downstairs to your office and actually do the work of the day in your office and then walk back upstairs. So that's going to be a lovely thing. And as she is finishing that, she's also actively looking for other buildings to use to do her next project. You're going to be hearing more about this tomorrow. Actually, I believe a press release may have gone out today. The Louisiana School of Law, the Jody Wagner Building on Fannin, you've all been keeping up with that. That's going to be a very exciting development for downtown because it's going to put 300 additional people downtown when it's all said and done. More people downtown, more feet on the street, more of a critical mass. It's all good. It's all good when you get more people downtown. They're going to need more retail, more places to live, more things to do, more coffee shops, more restaurants. Again, our downtown becomes a 24-hour downtown as opposed to a downtown where the sidewalks roll up at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The Ogilvy Hardware, as you're coming into Shreveport, it's between Uri Drive and Market Street, the big building, absolutely, the one that's been sitting out there vacant since 1998. It's going to become 90 loft apartments. They're going to be signing the contract on this. It's a development company out of Dallas, signing the contract in March of this year. This is going to be a very big thing. A very big thing. And again, more people downtown, more living downtown, more need for development downtown, downtown, downtown. Now, when I say downtown, of course, I'm very downtown-centric because of my job, but I know that all of you are as well because downtown is really the downtown for the region. When anyone says that word, they are talking about Shreveport's downtown because when you think about it, we're the only city in this area that has what you would call a downtown with the skyscrapers. We are the center of business and banking and finance in this area. So when people are talking about downtown, it's here. We're the heart, the soul, and the face of this area. An interstate runs through us. When people drive by and they see our wonderful murals and our skyscrapers, they're all wondering, what's going on in this downtown? Do I need to see more? The answer is yes, you do. This is the old ship radio building. Carl, do you remember that?
Drive through, get
Yes.
drive through, and you can
Yes, you could. And it sat vacant for years, and it wasn't looking very good. It's on Lake Street, and there's a gentleman by the name of Bill Pogue who has bought this building. The DDA did invest $40,000 into this building, and he wants to put a Louisiana dance hall here so that when people come into downtown, go to the convention, come to the hotels, they'll have something to do rather than just walking around looking at vacant buildings because we want them to have things that they can do, that Shreveport experience. The Red River District. I'm sure that you know that the city is working on taking the Red River District back from El Dorado Casino. All of that is going to be happening hopefully by June of this year. And then the city's going to be in a position, since no debt will be owed on this facility, of really being aggressive about putting it back into commerce, about marketing it in a big way. I'm sitting on the advisory board for the Red River District, and I'm telling you, I'm more excited about the Red River District now than I ever was when it first came into being. You've heard all the horror stories about how high the rents were, about how nobody could make it. Well, this time, the story is going to change in a very positive way, so that's coming too. The city has in its coffers money for a brand-new city park that is supposed to happen this year. And if you can't tell what that is, you see Texas Street up there? That's actually the Texas Street Bridge at Spring Street. So right across the street from the Blind Tiger, basically. It's that lot that's now a dirt lot that's surrounded by the signs. It's got a fence with the old historic pictures on it. And that's going to be our very first downtown city park in a number of years. And that's going to happen again this year. So what is the DDA and the Downtown Shreveport Development Corporation? Well, we're a couple of different entities. I have different boards that sit with each. The DDA was established by the Louisiana Legislature in 1978, and we are a quasi-governmental agency, and we are allowed to take a very small amount of property tax, and that's what funds us. That, along with two contracts that we have with the City of Shreveport, one for the parking meters, we do all the parking meters downtown, and one for what's called streetscape, which is keeping downtown clean. Now, we do put $50,000 of DDA money into that streetscape contract because the money we get from the city is not enough for that, but we consider it one of the things that we do for the City of Shreveport is keeping our downtown looking good. And then the Downtown Shreveport Development Corporation is our nonprofit arm because initially when we were established, we needed to be able to take donations of buildings, and people wanted to donate to a nonprofit so they would get the tax relief, and that's how DSDC came into play. DSDC now owns the Beard Tower Parking Garage, which we call Shreve Park, through a contract with the city. It's a very strange contract, but we'll own that parking facility until 2024, and that's how DSDC is funded. All the money that we get that comes into DDA and DSDC goes back into downtown. It goes into things like we have a revolving low-interest loan fund. We do facade grants, that Bill Pogue Lake Street project that you saw. We put $40,000 in the facade. We bought the Robinson Film Center building back a number of years ago because it was threatening to fall and take that whole block with it, that block of Texas Street. So the DSDC and the DDA are working and putting all of its money back into downtown, or at least that money that we can beg, borrow, steal, or find somewhere goes back into downtown. The downtown is more than just what we would consider the central business district. I know when we think of it, we think of the high-rise buildings, but it's actually a little bit more. The downtown development district, there you can see on that map, roughly goes, it's a strange shape. It goes from the river down to Stona, up Wall Street, up Marshall Street, follows the interstate along the south, then jogs up by the old city hall, which is now the police station, kind of follows Pete Harris up along Common Street, goes almost up to the Sweat Cove facility north of town, and then comes south again, coming out right on top of the Shreveport Convention Center. So you see our boundary is very unusual, and those boundary lines were redrawn just a few years ago. Joyce, I believe when you were on the council, they were redrawn to take in that part of Texas Avenue, which has become very talked about now because there's a really bold new group that has jumped in to do work on Texas Avenue called TACA, the Texas Avenue Community Association. I want to thank you for the opportunity to come and let you know what's going on downtown. It's very exciting times in downtown. We do have a window of opportunity now to help make things happen. And DDA and DSDC can't do it alone. I'm going to come to you for guidance, for assistance, for help in different ways. If there are things that you feel need to be done downtown, if you have any advice for me, please give me a call. I can't tell you how many times a day my phone rings from people saying, Liz, I was talking to a developer. They're very interested in downtown. Give them a call. I will cold call until the cows come home. So if you know somebody you think is willing to spend a dime in the city of Shreveport, give me a call, and I'll try and wring those 2 nickels out of them. Now, there are a couple of sayings that I love. One is get while the getting's good, and the other is make hay while the sun's shining. Well, let me tell you, in downtown right now, we need to make hay while the sun's shining and the getting is good. Because we do have an opportunity in downtown that I think we've not had before. We've got a critical mass of things happening with really good elected officials in place, with great ideas with people willing to spend money, those people who are on the fence, who are now looking at others, taking that big leap and willing to do the same. So any help that I can get from you, we have, again, a revolving loan fund with DSDC grant facades that we give out. Our money can only go as far as it goes, and it's not very far. So if the Caddo Parish Commission ever happens to come into any lagniappe, like, oh, I don't know, say this BP tourism money that that may be coming your way, or anything else, that we can take that money and make it pay for itself 5 times, 10 times, do something that's going to return a $15 million investment into downtown Shreveport, let me know, and I would be happy to assist you in making that happen. Are there any questions anybody has?
This is all very exciting, I mean, especially for downtown, but for all of the community.
It is.
The Sears building, I know, was owned by the Wiener family, and they had been paying property taxes on it forever. Will that stay on the property tax roll, or will that be off the property tax roll?
Probably what is going to happen, they had donated it to Tipitina's Foundation, which is a nonprofit. But it's an interesting quandary, because even though it's been donated to a nonprofit, it is very much going to be a building in commerce. It's going to have market value apartments. It's going to have retail. We hope it's going to have a grocery store. So that is a discussion that we do need to have with the tax assessor, that even though a building may be owned by a nonprofit, if the building is making profit, is it on the tax rolls? But that's a very good question.
And is that the same aspect with the Red River District as well? Because those will be for-profit businesses owned by the city of Shreveport. Would that then in turn put it on the tax roll?
Yeah, unfortunately, anything that's owned by a governmental entity does not pay tax to itself. And one of the biggest landowners in downtown Shreveport are our governmental entities. I actually did a spreadsheet showing my DDA board how few property owners in the downtown development district pay tax. Of the, I think there were 1,800 property owners, individual property owners in the downtown development district. Only 50% of them pay tax. Others are either nonprofit, governmental entities, churches, or adjudicated. So it is a problem, Matthew, it is. We can work ourselves out of business. Yes.
The taxes that are paid to that one particular entity, it's understandable that they wouldn't pay taxes to that one to themselves, but there's other entities that share in the property tax revenue that are separate governmental entities. Would those entities receive tax?
You know, it's always been my understanding that governments do not pay, but I may be wrong. Charles, do you know?
No.
They do not?
Well,
Turn to Erica, she said no.
Speaking for the parish, we do not pay taxes, property tax on any building that we own, even to the entities.
That's what I thought. And if you would like to, that would be lovely. It would help my bottom line a great deal. I actually have talked to a couple of nonprofits interested in buying a building downtown, and I've explained to them that this is a problem for us because, again, if you've got so many people not paying into the tax base, you know, you've still got to provide those same services to those people, and you can opt in to paying taxes. And so I was talking to the Community Foundation one day, and they said, well, if we bought a building, we would opt in to paying taxes. And I said, well, that's a great thing. Thank you.
So, Erica, if the Caddo Parish owned a building within the city limits of Shreveport, and we rented it out to a bar, and that business was for profit, we would not have to pay the city any property tax, the city's share of the property tax? Okay, that's everything.
It's my understanding. Yeah, it's
I'm not real sure about that either.
Okay, Mr. Thibodeau.
Another discussion.
Yeah, 2 quick questions. Is there a downtown development authority master plan?
Well, we are part of the master plan. We participated with all of those studies and working groups and sessions, and a big chunk of the master plan does focus on downtown, and it's very much what our membership and the conversations that we've heard would like for us to steer. There are obviously some things that we cannot do right now just because the money's not available. but it's been a great document for us in showing us sort of a way to travel.
And the second question is, ever since I've been old enough to be aware of any type of master plans that have been done in the city, I've always heard that a talk of closing down Texas Street between the church and the bridge and making that, friendly to pedestrians, especially
Really?
at
Wow.
night. I mean, that's been in several of the plans, and I was wondering if that ever comes up anymore.
I had never heard that one, but I mean, it's not to say that it wouldn't. One of the things that really is pushed in the master plan and also in all of our meetings is making downtown more pedestrian friendly. The city has managed to do that somewhat with widening the sidewalks and the streetscape program that they've done, but there are many other ways to do it as well. And one of those ways is to cut down on the amount of traffic.
I think, as I remember, it was
state roads.
making additional parking lots right on the perimeter and then close down Texas Street from the church and the bridge and have little trolley service or something like that to move people around if they needed that.
And trolley is something that's going to happen at some point for that free flow of travel through downtown. But again, it's very costly, and it's the chicken and the egg.
Yeah.
You want people to be downtown, you need to have them downtown, they need to be downtown for the trolley. Which comes first, the people or the trolley? Does the trolley have to come first or the people? So hopefully we can get them all down at the same time.
Thank you.
Dominique? One thing you said was about the adjudicated property. Is there a plan in place to try to promote those adjudicated properties for sale, or are they pretty much not anything that's worth anything, I guess?
A lot of the adjudicated properties are not properties that I think are very attractive to people. They're they're pieces of property, they're in locations that are not attractive, or they're strangely shaped or strangely located. But certainly, anything that we could do to promote putting adjudicated property back into commerce is good for all of us. And that is a great idea, as we're redoing our website, one of the things that we can do is we can really focus on, they're a great deal, come buy a piece of adjudicated property, it lets you into downtown for a lot less than you would normally spend, and we can help assist them in doing that. We certainly can.
That sounds good.
Okay, anyone else?
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Liz.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes, sir, President. So we have a presentation of some information from Mr. Larry on an event coming to the Earl Williams Park, upcoming event. Larry, would you come tell us about it a little bit?
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. As you may or may not be aware, we've been working with the Tourist and Convention Bureau the last couple of years or so, trying to bring more events to Caddo Lake, and especially our park, Earl Williamson Park on Caddo Lake. Last year we tried a crappie tournament with a national group. Unfortunately, that event was held on a day when we had snow and ice, and the weather was pretty tough.
Yeah.
This year we're going with a group, the Bass Federation, to hold the statewide high school championship bass tournament that will be launching out of Earl Williamson Park, and hopefully we'll attract teams from across the state. They're hoping for anywhere from 40 to 50 boats that will participate. And this will hopefully be a 3-year contract that we'll enter into. The first year will be, we all want to see how it's going to work. But it's really what we want to do is promote fishing, especially for the youth in the state, in the parish. And it's also something the Tourist Commission wants to do to promote more activity up in the North Caddo area, especially with Caddo Lake, which is really a gem that we have in Caddo Parish. So that'll be held on Saturday, February 26th. So it's coming up in a couple of weeks, and we'll be out of Earl Williamson Park.
Thank you, Larry. Good question, Commissioner Matthew? Thank you, I appreciate it. We do apologize for the discomfort you may be feeling at this time due to the environmental system not working properly. But Mr. Keith is going to come forward and give you an update on a project on the roof and the HVAC replacement in this building.
Well, he's the one.
The discomfort is progress.
It's not too bad. It's better than it was this morning when we got here. I'm going to give you an update on the roof and the HVAC project. The HVAC project began December 15th, and they have 120 days to complete, which should be complete about April the 15th. This last weekend, they set a crane up on Travis Street and set a couple of chillers up on the roof. And there's 2 old chillers that's still up there that they had to cut off to do some work. And the reason it's a little bit warm in here is because they kind of got behind starting those up. But they'll be back, they're back on the line now, and they'd be cooling down a little bit better tomorrow. The roof, and tonight, when it gets about 40 degrees outside, it'll be better. The roof is supposed to start March the 1st and be completed by May 15th. So that's the status of everything. And I have a meeting tomorrow with the roofers, a pre-construction meeting, and I'll have more details as far as if it's going to take up any space, if any, on the commission parking lot, and I'll have more information about that later. Any questions?
Keith, would you mention
Mr. Cox, Mr. Pearson, Ms. Bo, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
How far on the budget we came on this project?
The roof, we came $239,000 under budget. And the HVAC was $421,000 under budget.
So it's about $600,000 cheaper than we originally thought it would be.
Get out of here.
Give that to animal control.
If we had let the city
I've already found something.
I'm glad Liz left before she heard that. Don't take that to the bank. There's change orders that could be coming if they get a big
We had one change order, yeah. Okay.
Where we are with the project.
Yeah.
Very good.
Okay, Mr. Cox, Mr. Pearson, Ms. Bowman.
I would just like to tell Keith and your department that from the time that we had the meeting upstairs with the city to now, what you have done is great. Okay, we took a situation that was totally out of control, took it under our belt, and you've ran with it and done an excellent job until now, so I appreciate your help.
Thank you. We have a good team.
Mr. Pearson?
Ditto that with David Cox, and also, if I remember, that roof is gonna have a pitch to it, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, because we had talked at some point about these flat roofs. I can't stand them. I had a bunch of gymnasiums.
It's gonna be a built-up roof that'll go back to the roof drains.
Right,
Drain the
okay.
water off.
Oh, man. The gymnasiums with them flat and that water come through, hit that gym floor and it just buckles. But, okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, Ms. Bowman?
Oh, I was just gonna ask about the parking lot. You said the Parish parking area, is that right here or where?
Well, the commission park right now, when the roofers do the lower roofs, they may have to use some of that, I'm not sure. I'll have a meeting tomorrow with them. And whenever they start whenever they start March the 1st, I'll know way before then to give you ample notice if they do.
Oh, that's okay, because see, I never parked there anyway. I mean, it just didn't, when in Rome, do as the Romans do or whatever, but since I'm over here on this side, it didn't seem like you guys had much parking anyway. And of course, to take that up, you know how long it's going to take?
The roof is,
No, I mean, the parking.
not at this time, I will after tomorrow.
Okay.
That's it? Okay. Mr. Escudette?
I would just like, since Mr. Cox pointed out the meeting we had with the city to finally resolve this issue, would like to remind everybody, if it wasn't for then Councilman Bowman,
That's correct.
that the ball would have been kicked over here in our lap.
Thank you very much.
That's correct.
Was it, Jim?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Wilson?
Yes, so my last comments, contrary to what you may have read in the paper last week, we did not have a party up in Washington, D.C. We're working very hard. Say it again, you didn't hear me.
We're not partying, we're working. Did you
earphones out, Adam, please.
I'd like to thank the commissioners who went on this trip. Actually, we arrived on Wednesday at 1. Our first appointment was 3 o'clock. And we had appointments 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock. The next morning, we left the hotel at 9:30. We didn't come back until 5:30, 6 o'clock. We went to various departments, EPA, USDA, Department of Energy. We saw the entire congressional staff. We went there for business, and we conducted ourselves accordingly. So I encourage us to continue doing that. You have to go up there. The governor was there, lieutenant governor was there, various state department secretaries were there. You had to go to it. Secretary of Treasury Guyton spoke at one of our events at the Economic Development Luncheon, and I think it was very profitable for us as an organization to invest what we did to go and represent Caddo Parish at the level at which we need to be represented at that particular event. So I would encourage us to continue going. It was well worth the expense, and everything was done decent and in order. Amen?
Amen.
I didn't go, I don't know.
There's the video that will make you less proud of us than what you are now.
Yeah.
Okay, so that concludes my report for today.
Okay. Any questions of the administration relative to any of the reports? Let's Thibodeau.
I was just gonna say, I know that the people who went, did deal with a lot of, meetings there, and it was just a coincidence that Mardi Gras was taking place at the same time.
That's good. This time, communicating committee reports, any communications of commissioners? Mr. Escobar, Ms. Baker, anyone else? John?
I'm just going to, my communication's piggybacking on Mr. Wilson's report. In addition to doing all that, I was able to accomplish a couple of things. Everybody kind of spin off on their own. I have to be cryptic about it, especially as one of them, as you know, this big project that we have an opportunity that we're competing with another state with. Happened to run across somebody who was represented a group that is more than convinced it can provide the local investment that is a key to this. I already had that meeting lined up with those dozen or so people, and the concern who owns the entity that may be looking for here. That's one good thing. I also stumbled another one that will be forthcoming soon, and go ahead, I'll let this one out. I think they'll make the announcement. They're going to make a movie here about the life and history of General Chenault, and that thing got put to bed. In addition to, we've secured very nice sponsorship for the upcoming Bassmaster Classic here next year. I've got that commitment. Those were three things that I just stumbled on by happening to meet somebody who met somebody. So that was well worth it, but good things. But the big project that we're all kind of working on. Also got Senator Landry's attention, and she's in a position on that to help us in more ways than we can imagine. She's already drafting a letter of support for that, so it's productive. Thank you.
Ms. Baker?
Just to piggyback on Administrator Wilson and Commissioner yesterday on the meeting, and one of the things that I did as a follow-up as being a new committee chair for the Economic Development Committee, which I'm excited about. I'm excited about getting this committee established and started. We met with U.S. Congressman Alexander, and he mentioned to us about contacting our state director for USDA, and I did talk to him today, and he's going to be at the convention. They're going to have a booth there, and I'm going to get a chance to talk to him and get a time schedule for him to come up and talk to the actual Economic Development Committee about what he can do to help us in our rural district on some of the projects that we're wanting to present and getting some funding for them. So he's all excited about coming and working with us, and he told me to make sure that I get in touch with him in their booth, because he have a booth here at the convention, and someone can get it scheduled for us to meet with them. So we're excited about that. And also I met with Mr. Tell me his name, last name?
Marietti?
From LSUS.
Marietti?
Morales. Yes, Mr. Morales on the
on the project that he has, that he wants to present also to the Economic Development Committee. It's a very good project. It's on, he's doing animation.
Digital animation.
Digital animation, and he's looking at wanting to utilize the Several Brothers building. So, but first he wants the committee to come out to LSUS and tour his department, see the things that he's doing, and I'm going to try to get that scheduled for us to go out and actually see what his work is, and look at what he's doing and see if it would be a feasible project for us to get involved with. So, I'm excited about that. That's it. Thank you very much.
Any other communiques or reports? Okay. Today, supposedly at 5 p.m., the city was supposed to have a committee meeting relative to the master plan. And our intergovernmental and professional organizations committee were the ones that were going to meet with them, and we were going to green the report and go from there. So I don't know what their timetable will be, but we're going to finish what we have to do here today, and also be reminded that we will sit as a proper standard for the meeting after this meeting. Okay, one more.
We just got a copy of the police jury schedule, and the second sheets on the right side margin is cut off. If we can get another copy to see what that's saying.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay. All right. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Okay, President's report, and then no old business, sir.
All right. I'm finished. Next order.
Move to new business. Ordinance number 5072, amending chapter 32 of the Code of Ordinances of the Parish of Caddo, to add Article 6, Section 3220 through 3237 to regulate noise and establish fines and penalty violations thereof, providing an effective date within the unincorporated limits of Caddo Parish.
Move to Thursday.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Smith, seconded by Commissioner Baker, to move this item to Thursday. Any discussion? Let's vote, please. Okay, that advances to Thursday.
Resolution number 5 of 2011, supporting the creation of the Shreveport Bossier Sports Commission.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Commissioner Bowman, seconded by Mr. Lynn. Commissioner Lynn, any discussion? Vote to move forward. Mr. Pearson.
I'm sure you all know how I feel about the Shreveport Regional Sports Authority, and certainly I will not be supporting the creation of the new sports commission for several reasons. But for the first reason is that there hasn't been a definitive reason in regards to performance why there was a need to reestablish another sports commission in this area. I think all of us are evaluated on performance, on how well we perform. And I don't think that there has been a time when the current Shreveport Sports Authority has embarrassed us in regards to their performance. Matter of fact, last week, even under the midst of them being supplanted or replaced, they held the largest event for high school wrestling that's ever been held in this state, and got them to come back again next year, even though it looks like they may not be, the agency in charge. I think that most of these things, everything that I've heard in regards to supplanting this agency has been personal. Haven't heard anything in regards to any absolutes about performance that has been held. The second thing is, and I won't belabor this because I know time is well spent and most of us got Valentine someplace, is that I don't think as a commission, we need to sign on to anything that is personal to someone else. I mean, the enemy of my friend is not necessarily my enemy. All of us, have someone, in some place that may not like either of us, but we respect each other because of performance. And I don't accept the fact that if I can use Matthew, that a friend of mine doesn't like Matthew, so therefore Matthew is my enemy. I can't accept that. I think that the Shreveport Regional Sports Authority has done everything that the Caddo Parish Commission expected them to do, in terms of reports, in terms of audits, in terms of being good stewards of the money that we have provided. And I just cannot support this, even though, I'm not so naive to think that it won't be done. I just think that the commission should not be in a bandwagon mode as to follow the lead of someone who, everybody knows the city council and Mayor Glover is the one that's driving it, and everybody else is following along. So they hadn't done, nothing has been done in regards to the commission having a reason, to supplant this authority, the Shreveport Regional Sports Authority. For that reason, and certainly a lot of others that I won't go through at this time, I'm certainly not going to support moving it forward at this time, That's it, Mr. President.
Okay. Mr. Thibodeau? I was looking at the letter that was sent to Mr. Millsap that we all got a copy of from the 4 entities that want to form the new body. And the letter is extremely vague in what the authority wants to do and how it's going to be done. It's just, for example, we are committed to ensuring these events under control or under contract are successful. But it doesn't say how it's going to be funded. It doesn't say who will be in charge of it. And I'm just not ready to vote for this resolution at this time. I think there's still way too many unanswered questions. And secondly, I have not been involved in any of the conversations, which is to me good, because as I look at all the entities that are involved, there is only one person who has delivered, and that one person is the person in charge of the Shreveport Regional Sports Authority. Every single event that they went out and got, they delivered, and even with the Bassmasters tournament, I think it set some records. So I'm not ready to get rid of that talent until I can understand that what we're doing is better than what we already have. And I also, as Mr. Pearson pointed out, I think that in order to make a good decision, we've got to do away with some of the personal conflict that's going on between some of the people involved for the old organization and new organization. That's not the way we need to make a decision. We need to make a decision based on what will reap the greatest benefits for this area. And I don't think that we're at that point right now, so I can't support it until much more work is done on it.
Ms. Bowman? Yes, sir, thank you very much. I cannot sit here and not address this issue because I battled this issue while serving on the council. And for Mr. Pearson to make the statement that it was only the council and the mayor that got it started, Mr. Pearson has always had personal ties with the Sports Authority, and to make this personal for somebody else, it was personal for him as well on the opposite side. So therefore, that's part of the reason he is the spokesperson for them. Believe me, I worked with the Sports Authority in the beginning. Then the SWAC tournament was coming here to Centritel. There was the biggest mess between the Sports Authority and the Tourist Bureau. He said, she said, nobody could get along. Oh yeah, it was an absolute mess. I'm not familiar with how much this commission has in the past given the Sports Authority. Surely it was not what happened as far as the city was concerned over the years. One of the things when Mr. Pearson made the statement that when they started surf planting and replacing, city didn't do that. They did it to themselves. The problem was this: they had their own articles of incorporation. They decided to go to Baton Rouge. You have the name City of Shreveport, and then you want to change everything. If you're going to change all of this, at least let some of the people know, i.e. the mayor or some of the council members or something. No, that wasn't done. We found that out much later by mistake, that they had decided to do this. Why did they do it? It was done after all of the hoopla got started. And I'm just coming straight out with it. That's exactly the way it all happened. No one surf-planted them. No one tried to replace them until all of the mess and confusion got started. It certainly is not a personal issue with me, but when I saw that this was wrong, yes, I spoke out about it. And I'm here now, and I speak out about it here, and I will support this, because not only was there the Tourist Bureau that is basically, have so much money, tax money, they can do quite a bit as far as advertising and quite a few things. Are they a sports marketing organization? Not that I know of. Are they going to become one? Maybe, I'm not sure. But one of the things I do know is that Mayor Will Walker, the Bossier Parish Police Jury, Bill Optimus, and their folks have signed on with this, and I just don't believe that this turned out to be all that personal. It was a heck of a lot more involved in this whole situation before, before the city decided to say, look, we've had enough. Because if you are carrying and you are established by the city of Shreveport, then you all at once go behind the city of Shreveport's back and say, oh, we're going to do our own thing now, but I'm going to keep using your buildings and I'm going to keep taking your money. No, that's not the way it goes. And if you cannot come to the table and sit down and address these issues, per se, that you have, then that's another problem. You know, we are not under you anymore, so no, we don't have to answer to you. That was wrong. And I don't feel that you can come and take money that does not, and then not be accountable for it and not answer to, i.e. the mayor or the council. You were established back in the 90s by the city council of Shreveport. And now all at once, when trouble starts, you decide, okay, I'm not going to be under you anymore, but I'm going to keep using your buildings. Yes, I'm going to keep taking your money, and that's not right. So yes, I'll support this 100%. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes. No, you, okay.
I want to talk.
All right, go ahead, let Commissioner
Doug go.
and John.
I want to go last.
Anyone else? Okay. You?
So we always can agree to disagree, I guess Commissioner Bowman, but what I've seen is what Commissioner Pearson has been talking about. And if the Shreveport Sports Authority and the Tourism Board have a problem, I don't think we need to be getting involved in it. And it's always been my understanding, maybe I'm wrong, y'all have to show me the documents. Maybe I should have looked at them, but it's my understanding that the Shreveport Sports Authority, when it was initially set up, it was set up its own entity. It wasn't set up by the city of Shreveport. I'm sure there's a lot of things that have the name of Shreveport that are not tied to actually the city of Shreveport. I really can't say anything more than what Commissioner Pearson said and the issues that Commissioner Thibodeau brought up. I'm not going to support it, but kind of like Commissioner Pearson, understanding that this is probably going to go forward even if I vote no, but I am going to vote no.
Mr. Escudé?
Commissioner Dominic, I hope I can change your mind and Commissioner Thibodeau's mind. I'll get you the documents where the city created the Sports Authority, and there was a provision in it when it created it that allowed the Sports Authorities Board, if it so chose to spin itself off away from the city. And that's what they did last June. And they did that, and then at the same time, when they became autonomous, expected the city to continue to fund them annually. Well, I agree with Ms. Bowman. You know, you don't emancipate yourself from me as a child and then you come back and say, you know, my tuition's due, Dad. You know, that's basically what happened. But there are documentations, and we'll get you whatever you need to verify that and prove that. But what we're talking about here is not something that's necessarily personal. You know, people want to make it personal, they make it personal. I've worked, even though Commissioner Pearson and I disagree on ultimately where this is headed, we've worked closely over the last year trying to sustain the Sports Authority and keep it going. Now, it's reached a point now to where they have no funding. The only reason, or one of the reasons I supported our temporary funding in our past budget for the Sports Authority was so that it could have funds to remain in place until a new entity could be created and developed to fulfill that mission. Mr. Pearson, along with Mayor Beard, I believe, and Orvis Ziegler, that's their baby and they birthed it, and it's got a special place in his heart, and I understand that. But that baby's kind of grown up and left the reservation. And we need to do something new. And and since by their action last June, they spun themselves off and broke their ties with the city, there is no organization other than this private organization that markets sports. What the mayor of Bossier and the Bossier Parish has wanted to do, and I've worked representing us and several of our members over the last few months and years, as well as the city of Shreveport, is to have an entity that was created now that will specifically market sports for the area, the region, not just the city of Shreveport. Thus, the Shreveport-Bossier Tourism Commission, or Sports Commission, a more geographic approach. You know, Bossier and Parish or the city or the commission for that standpoint have never really had a dog in the hunt, though we have been asked to fund them occasionally to subsidize events such as the Bassmaster. And to continue to do that without having some sort of skin in the game, so to speak, I don't want to do anymore. What this new authority does is it takes an unprecedented move by the four governing bodies and it creates an entity that will market us as a region. It has nothing to do with whether they could or could not get along with the Tourist Bureau. I don't care about that. The Tourist Bureau has the resources to take them under their umbrella, house them and staff them so that we don't have to pay for that. All this resolution does is say we're supporting the concept of forming the Shreveport-Bossier Regional, they're calling it, it's a sports commission. And that's what this does. And ultimately it will be housed in the Tourist Bureau, funded by the Tourist Bureau, but its board will be an appointee from this body, the other three governing bodies, and somebody from within the Tourist Bureau so that we know what's going on. Hopefully we in the future intend to go to the state legislature once we get out of this terrible year and try to have an ongoing source of funding for this entity so that when we have to host an event like the Bassmaster, we don't have to pony up $500,000, which is what the tag was 2 years ago. Now, Representative Montgomery was able to go to the state and get that large chunk of it. What did we put up, $50,000? Yeah. $50,000. And that's going to happen again next year. I've already talked to Secretary Darden, or Lieutenant Governor Darden now twice, about trying to get the same level of funding for the Bassmaster that they're giving New Orleans this weekend. I was just happening later this weekend after all things going down to New Orleans to visit my daughter, and I was asked by both mayors and Bill Altimus, while you're down there, go touch base with these guys and let the region know that regardless of what they hear and what happens, that we will do whatever we need to pull off this event and make it satisfactory. So this is not a takeover thing. It is not a hostile thing in my mind. It's just evolved to the point where it's bigger than this entity. It's bigger than an entity that is a separate entity from any of the governmental entities out there obligating city facilities. While we're airing it out, I can tell you where it's headed. The city of Shreveport and Bossier, which own the facilities that use most of these events, they're not going to play ball. That's just the bottom line. So I don't know as a parish what we bring to the table or what we can offer. But that's where it's headed, and that's what needs to be. A lot of time and study have gone to it. Bossier City has already passed, the city of Shreveport, the two governing bodies over in Bossier are going to pass it, and all this resolution says is we support the creation of this entity. What happens to the existing entity, the old entity, which is not under anybody's purview anymore, only time will tell. But if you've been as close to it as I have for the last year and a half, this is something that we need to do. We need a regional approach. And it's inevitable if we're going to have any continuation of sports marketing here, because I can just tell you, and I don't think either mayor will deny this, they're not willing to work with the other entity. They control those facilities. That's just the way it's going to be. So we can either sit back and try to salvage something that's unsalvageable, or try to move forward and salvage what we've got running. So I would hope that in between now and Thursday, you do a little more research, you talk to a little more people, and you do support this resolution, because that's, as tragic as it is, that's where it's headed. Thank you.
Through the grace of God, the Shreveport and Bossier Convention and Tourism Bureau has reaped the benefits of both the Haynesville shell and Katrina and the people in the movie industry moving to this area. They are flush with cash, and they have the means to house an entity that will represent Northwest Louisiana as a whole entity, without being funded solely by the Caddo Parish Commission. Though I don't always, want to jump on the bandwagon and root against someone who has done something good for the community, and I want to say that I'm friends with Mary Ann Tice, and I'm friends with the Shreveport Sports Authority. However, as communities grow, their viewpoint has to grow, and I feel that we have to look at a larger point. I mean, I would be for pulling in, DeSoto Parish, Bienville Parish, and Webster Parish, and even eastern Texas and southern Arkansas into a regional approach, because our downtown, just like Liz Swain said, is the only downtown that anybody within 50 miles of here has to offer as a downtown. And with the city of Bossier and the city of Shreveport owning all of the facilities that anything would ever happen in, and the three entities, Bossier City, Bossier Parish, and City of Shreveport, taking control of sports activities, that not to jump on the bandwagon, but I certainly don't want to see Caddo Parish solely stuck with the expense of doing everything, and that's the way it would be if we don't move forward with the Shreveport Bossier Sports Authority, and I will be supporting it. That's all, Mr. President.
Mr. Cox? I'm like Carl. I think this is going to go forward no matter what. I've been on both sides. I've talked to Mary Ann over a year ago when a lot of this stuff had started out. I can see the point where we do need to make a change, but as how much you change it, you change the validity of what we can do as a whole. If the way I looked at it first was that this organization brought in the Bassmasters Classic with a team that they put together, and yes, they did a great job, and yes, everybody was happy, and yes, they're coming back simply because of that entity. They did that. Shreveport tied into it, Tourism Bureau tied into it, but it was their baby start to finish. Out of the maybe 5 that I can think of, yeah, the SWAC tournament was a problem. Was it strictly that problem within the 2 entities that wanted their way done or another way done? Who knows? I wasn't privy to that information. All I know is it did not make it the first year they were out. They didn't want to sign another contract. When you have 2 people arguing all the time that cannot get along all the time, and then you bring in the entities of the governments of Bossier, Bossier Parish, Caddo, and Shreveport to make a new one, that's okay. I don't have a problem with that, but let's make it work, because people listen to the problems before, during, and after. You can actually put this new one together and it flop, simply because people understand that this came about because they couldn't handle their business right. if it moves to Thursday, we need to really seriously consider the people that are on this board, where Mary Ann ends up, where the city ends up, and where Bossier ends up. I've always said, we're sister cities, okay? But look how much the regional business plan is going as far as where Kurt Foreman is. He's now selling businesses to North Louisiana all the way over to basically Monroe. Well, guess what? I'm in Caddo Parish. I'm selling businesses for Caddo, not Monroe. So I've really never been a big fan of even that regional type atmosphere. Once you let something go, it's gone. So move it to Thursday. Let's get it all ironed out. If you don't know it before now, get with somebody that can answer. John's worked on this a lot. Carl's worked on this a lot. This is going to be an important vote. I still think there needs to be a place for Mary Ann because of the blood, sweat, and the tears that she's put into this. And I think she's done a heck of a job as far as I'm concerned. And I couldn't tell you we're not friends, but I as a business person, I can tell you she knows how to run that business. And she's made money for the city of Shreveport and Caddo Parish. And Bossier. So to say that she hasn't done her job, I'm going to disagree with that. But to say that there was conflict between one entity that wanted enough of the pie and wasn't getting it, I'll say that too. So I'll move this to Thursday, but come Thursday, we will have a lot to talk about. Thank you.
On the second go-round, is there anyone that has not spoken on this issue that would like to speak?
Yeah.
If not, Mr. Pearson, second go-round.
And I'm going to try to make this quick. I asked, in our meeting last time we met, I asked the question that if some way the current entity, Shreveport Regional Sports Authority, was able to sustain itself by some private donations or some windfall of some kind that was not government money. And I asked the mayor, would they lease facilities if they had a project that was potentially a huge project like the Bassmaster Classic or some project that would bring in lots of people and lots of money, would they lease the facilities to that current the sports authority? Originally said no, then he came back and said at market rate. Retail. At retail. Yeah, he said at retail. Which it seems to me that it's not about the sports authority, and it's far beyond what's good for Shreveport, because if they had an event that was good for Shreveport, it seemed like everybody would want to buy into it regardless of whether I like somebody or not. It's personal. They want to get rid of Mary Ann Tice. And that's the whole issue. And I don't skirt around issues, but that's all this is about. For whatever reason, and we can go back, the city, Joyce, and you know this, whether because of dire straits and tax shortages and all that, hadn't supported the sports authority to that original agreement of $274,000 in six years or so. Now, I know you have been one to have tried to find some money to try and support them, either $100,000 here, $60,000 there, or whatever, but that has never been, since in 6 years, they have been hustling money either by trying to put on board members from Bossier City, which garnered them about $10,000 from their Economic Development Corporation, but Bossier Parish and Bossier City has never ended up. And the former mayor stopped us from having fishing tournaments in Bossier because of that very fact, because we were having all the fishing tournaments in Bossier. and Bossier wasn't adding up and wasn't helping at all. So it goes far beyond and far reaching, and even after all of that, the performance of this authority and of this cooperation has been exemplary. And, you know, we all got paperwork, John. I mean, we got some paperwork that shows this, and we got some paperwork that shows that. And so I guess all the lawyers get together, Charles and Donna, and they figure out what paperwork is what. But the point is, to me, is that these events and all of these things that have come to Shreveport have come because of relationships that this one person has built. That's why. And you're talking about expanding. You can expand all you want, but Shreveport, Bossier is strapped because you don't have facilities. You know, and that's where we're short of doing a lot of things, because our facilities are strapped. But even at that, we've had some of the largest events that been put on, and that has occurred because of the person having relationships with the rights holders. And I think that person, as much as this has hurt her, is big-hearted enough to continue to help Shreveport get those things that they want. You know, and whether she's a part of it or not, which, you know, I think that's the whole idea. But I think she has not talked against Shreveport, which she possibly could, because she appears on the board of a lot of those large entities and been offered jobs all across the country. But I'm through, Mr. President.
Okay. Ms. Bowman?
Yeah, just one thing, and then I'm going to leave this long. I was not there. I was only there for 4 years. 4 years. Whatever happened before I got there. And I met with Ms. Tice on numerous occasions. I didn't feel that they were receiving the money that they deserve. I made sure we amended the budget to see sure that they got that. I mean, that shows I had no problem with the sports authority. It was other things that came up, and the only thing that bothered me the most, and I'm loyal to this board because this is where I'm serving now. I was loyal to the city of Shreveport because that's where I served at that time. And at that time, you decided to take yourself from under the auspices of the city of Shreveport. When that happened, and I have the letter that we received from our attorney in reference to that. But nevertheless, I just feel that the state of Louisiana kicked in quite a bit of money for Bassmasters. See, it wasn't one person that did Bassmasters. Yes, you certainly were the key factor involved in seeing to it that he came here. Wonderful, and I appreciate you doing that. However, it took money to put on an event like that. It's going to take money to do it again in 2012. And the $200,000 that the commission gave this time, it's going to take a whole lot more than that $200,000 come 2012. But the problem is the state of Louisiana, the city of Shreveport, everybody came together and supported this thing. It was not a one-man show. It was, I mean, it was all over. And even the Tourist Bureau kicked in and did their part as well. Hopefully they'll kick in and do their part this next time, because we all want to see these activities come here. It's good not only for the parish, it's good for our region, it's good for the state. And you know, I have no problem with that. I just know that it's been a lot of, it's been a lot as far as this was concerned. I was in on part of those meetings. I really was. And I didn't leave those meetings too very happy. And regardless of how this goes, I will support this because I feel that it's the best thing for this region. Thank you.
Call for the question. Mr. Escudero?
Call for the question?
No, I've asked for a second go-around, so if you're in second go-around, you can put your name on the list, and when it comes to you, you can. Mr. Escudero?
Thank you. I just want to follow up briefly. This has nothing to do with personalities. The reality is, and I understand Commissioner Cox's concerns about wanting to preserve Caddo, but there are some things, and sports marketing is one where we're enjoying with Bossier whether we want to be or not, and we just as soon ally ourselves with them. They have the facilities, half of them, we have the other half. You can't put on the Bassmasters without CenturyTel, and they can't put it on without the convention center. So it goes one and the same. So if we're not working together, nothing's going to happen. So whether it's by necessity or whatever you want to call it, it is important that we have an ongoing relationship with them, especially to host major events, because neither city by itself has the infrastructure and the facilities to pull it off. Second time, everybody pony up to save the event. I've heard time and time and time again, it's the number one argument. The relationships developed over the years, that, you know, I'm not going to be held hostage by one person or by a dozen people, not emotional hostage. If the Lord takes one of us tonight, as tragic as that may be, the world's going to keep on turning, things are going to keep on rocking and rolling. And somebody's past, or you appreciate their efforts, does not indicate where they're going to go in the future. And things need to change. This needs to be involved. We need to be involved in this with our partner parishes and our partner cities. And I'm just going to say one other thing. It showed me that we need control. The four entities need to work together. We need this new thing. When I sat at a meeting less than 6 months ago and saw a representative there speaking on behalf of the Sports Authority, they talked to both mayors like a dog. You know, it's out there. Like, I couldn't believe that. With total disrespect, total disdain, calling them liars when they weren't. I've never seen anything like that, never witnessed it. I was ashamed and embarrassed. This didn't come from the person in charge, but it came from the person that was engaged to represent them, that allowed it to happen. That enough told me right there I had seen enough. We're all good for a certain amount of time, and then maybe it's all good, we hit the pasture one day. The difference is, everybody wants to be Brett Favre and not know when it's time to go hit the pasture. Thank you.
Ms. Baker?
Call for a question.
Second. Question's been called for by Ms. Baker and seconded by Mr. Dominique. In order for the question to be called for, it has to be by a 3/4 majority vote. It ends all debate, and we immediately go to a vote on the issue at hand. Question's been called for. All in favor of resolution number 5 on advancing it to Thursday's agenda? If you're in favor of it, vote yes. If you're opposed, vote no. Okay. That's it?
Mike,
everybody
hadn't voted yet.
Okay, that advances to Thursday. Next item, please. I mean Wednesday, I'm sorry. Be meeting Wednesday.
Better remind me.
Wednesday. All right.
Resolution number 6, stating Caddo Parish Commission's endorsement of Blue Streak Services to participate in the benefits of the Louisiana Quality Jobs Program.
Look, Wednesday. Moved by Commissioner Escabay.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Bowman, that we advance resolution number 6 to Wednesday's agenda. No discussion? Any discussion? Mr. Pearson?
Yeah, I got one, it's in my district, and I have not heard from, I'd like to have a representative here on Wednesday, if that's possible, to tell us, a little bit more about that company and what they're asking.
Okay, so noted. Any more discussion? If not, let's vote, please. Okay, that issue advances to Wednesday's agenda. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Authorize reappointment of Ms. Leah Smith to the Board of Lakeview Waterworks District.
Commissioner Johnson. Moved to second. Moved by Commissioner Johnson, seconded by Commissioner Dominique. Any discussion? We advance the appointment to Wednesday's agenda. That's approved. Next item, please.
Authorize reappointment of Mr. Ricky Hall to the Board of North Shreveport Industrial Park Supervisory Board.
Move to Wednesday. Moved by Mr. Johnson, seconded by Mr. Cox. On the discussion, does the maker have any discussion? No. Okay, Ms. Baker?
I just have a question. Is this board still in existence? I know at one time they were saying it was
Yes, it is.
not working. But
It
it
met,
is.
November the 29th of last year, and it's still in existence.
Okay, all right.
Okay, seeing no more discussion, we'll vote to advance this item to Wednesday's agenda. Okay, so advance. Consent agenda? Okay, next order, please.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I entertain a motion, no, Mr. President, if I may. Okay. Go back under old business, and Mr. Demishay has informed me there's nobody here currently with any of these property candidate standards cases, and I would like to move that we postpone this until a meeting next month. Move and second that we postpone the property standards meeting.
You know, I have another question.
Okay, all in favor of the motion?
I got a question.
Okay.
About one constituent here who I've told, after I talked to Mr. Demishay, that this will be taken care of today. This has been going on for 2 years, and it is a horrible situation. A horrible one. It's a very nice neighborhood right next door.
Chair recognize Mr. Thibodeau.
I move that we hear the one that you referencing today.
Okay. You want to second it, Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Moved by Mr. Thibodeau, seconded by Mr. Smith, that we hear the one property standards case where an individual is present today.
How do we know which one they are?
You don't say an individual. I was told it wasn't an individual. Is it not true? The person's not here. You just told them to settle it today.
Yeah.
Oh, they're not here,
They're not here, and Mr. Demishay and I talked about it, and he said we would do it today, so I called.
Okay, I want to vote on my motion, a substitute motion, because Mr. Demishay doesn't have any skin in this game now. I made a motion.
But I do, sir.
Okay.
We have, point of order. I have one, before we close the meeting and go into, I have one question before we close the regular meeting.
Okay, well, that's fine. Okay, we have two motions on the floor. We have a substitute motion made by Mr. Thibodeau, seconded by Mr. Smith, that we hear one property standards case that's in Mr. Smith's district. And we also have the motion that was originally made by Mr. Escaday and seconded by Mrs. Bowman, that we cancel the property standards meeting today. The substitute motion was made second. We'll vote on it first. All in favor? Okay, we'll hear the one property standards case. Okay, before we end this meeting, Mr. Pearson has an issue.
The only thing I want to try to clear up, and I don't know if this is the right time to bring it up. I mean, we had, and I didn't include this in my, my talks earlier. We need to make sure we understand where we are with our obligation to the Shreveport Regional Sports Authority. We had obligated up to $200,000 for their contracts that they still are under, that they have already established. Now, if this new commission is established, does that take us out of the obligation that we already made to the sports authority's contract?
Okay.
I need to hear from that.
Information. We made that in committee.
No, we voted on that.
Right, yeah, we voted on it, so it's official.
Okay.
Yeah, we met in committee when we did the budget. Allocated and everything, so it's allocated, that's still in effect. However, what I would ask the administration to do, to bring copies of that committee meeting minute, if that's relevant, and make sure that we are obligated to go forward with what we promised at that particular time.
Well, I think we are, unless we vote, we are not obligated.
We are, that's right.
The reason that I was asking is that Ms. Frazier was on hold with providing the information to the speaker. See, after last week's activity, I mean, they have bills to pay because we told them that we would support them through their current contract. So they have bills to pay from their last meeting, and then next month they got the NC2A basketball. If we're going to support that like we said we were, which we have not said we won't, but I don't know.
It's in the budget.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Well, that's one moment. Hold up. Sorry to that discussion.
Yes, sir, we got, yeah.
That's it? Who? Who we got? We got Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Thibodeau.
I just ask a question on the property standard. I was going to ask what was our normal
standards do we do? Do we do it while people are here, or do we do it when they're not here?
We'll get to that issue. Yeah, we voted on that. Okay, do we have, we finished? Well, what we got?
Do we move to adjourn this meeting?
I did, until y'all ask questions. I'm gonna adjourn.
Okay, Mr. Wilson.
Yes, sir, excuse me. I did tell Ms. Frazier not to dispense any cash to the Shreveport Sports Authority until this board is satisfied that all the requirements have been met based on your meeting that you had, the last NGO meeting. So there was to appoint 2 people on the board, and some other things that you all asked for. So we want to make sure that you all were satisfied before we dispense any cash. So you're telling me you all are all satisfied now?
Well, one thing, we're in the work session agenda. Anything that's in place, we can either amend it, subtract it, or whatever. And I think at the appropriate time, if that's an issue that needs to be discussed, we can get a motion and a second from the floor, and we can act upon it then in the formal meeting. Okay, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We're trying to locate Mr. Demajet. He went back upstairs and he was told that wasn't anybody here.
It's right here.
So we're trying to go back.
Which case, Mr. Thibodeau, I'm gonna have to take